Fury continues to mount after Sir Keir Starmer signed a £30 billion surrender deal, handing over the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. And the government argues it secures national security, and without this deal, control of the army base could have been lost via international courts. But what could £30 billion have bought us? Well, let's have a look through some of the numbers. The scores on the doors. It could get us 20 years of winter fuel allowance at £1.5 billion a year. How about 60 years of farmers' inheritance tax raid at £500 million a year? What about 17.5 million energy bills at £1,720 per household? Fancy some new infrastructure? What about this? 30 billion quid could pay for 3 new super prisons at £10 billion a pop. That's 30,000 prisoners kept behind bars where they belong. How about a shiny new nuclear power plant? Well, Hinkley C, £26 billion. Still got £4 billion change. Now, what about some new key workers? Well, £30 billion goes a long way. Bear in mind, a billion has got 9 zeros. You get 1 million new nurses at £30,000 a pop. 1.2 million new soldiers, 1.4 million new coppers, and 948,000 almost new teachers. £30 billion goes a long way on British soil, but yesterday the government decided over 100 years to give it to Mauritius. Well, joining me now to go through this in the studio is our political correspondent, Catherine Forster. Catherine, you were there yesterday for this dramatic intervention. We have a guest coming up short. I'm delighted, Beatrice Pomp, who put that 11th hour claim in against the government and dramatically almost won. You asked the best question of the day. It was about how should British voters feel about this money going overseas when it could be perhaps better spent in the UK, and the figures today seem to be far in excess of what the Prime Minister told us they would be just yesterday.
Yes, it is a bit confusing because he stood there and said 100 million a year average, total cost 3.4 billion. Today we're hearing from the Conservatives that it's 30 billion. In fact, it's very complicated, and I won't go into all the details, but they are both correct. It depends on the way that you calculate it. Normally, the government will take the bigger figure because that's helpful for them. This time, they're calculating it in a way according to what's called net present values, which makes it look much smaller. So those are all correct, but certainly it is a large amount of money. Now, the Prime Minister said to me, look, it's what we spend on running one aircraft carrier for a year, minus the planes. It's just 0.2% of the defence budget. But still, at a time that the government are making a lot of cuts, for farmers, disabled people, pensioners, etc., I think it's a difficult sell, given that we are giving something that we have owned away to another country and then paying to lease it back.
OK, I believe we have our next guest ready now. Please stick with us. I know you'd like to get involved in this, Catherine. Let's speak now with the Chagossian Beatrice Pompe, who brought that 11th hour injunction, which very, very nearly precipitated a tremendous last-minute victory. Beatrice, welcome to the show. Before we get into the particulars of your legal case, may I ask you for your reaction today, how you're feeling about the deal and how other Chagossians are feeling about your country being given to Mauritius?
Good evening. A lot of Chagossians are furious, but I'm hopeful. Today, I'm getting, when I look at all the support we had yesterday from all the Chagossians from different countries, different parts of the UK, I am hopeful, and we are going to fight this. We've got hope.
And in terms of your case, just talk us through to GB News viewers about the specifics of your case, because I believe that you read a story by GB News' Charlie Peters, which gave you the impetus, as it were, because of the deadline being brought forward. And so you decided to take action, and you took action on behalf of yourself and your human rights and the human rights of other Chagossians. Talk us through the specific aspects of your claim against the British government.
Yes, that's right. We've been, since 60 years ago, since we've been dumped to Mauritius and the Seychelles and other parts of the countries who didn't want us in the first place. We were removed from our islands. The British government have been treating us as if we don't exist. The Mauritian government have been treating us that we're not human beings as well. So why now they will take care of us because of this deal? So we've been trying all the 6 years to get the British government to realize that we are humans. We want our human rights. We want self-determination. We want to stand up for ourselves. Why are we not being looked at?
And your case was 11th hour. There was an overnight hearing around about 2:30 in the morning. There was granted a temporary injunction. It wasn't to be. Later that morning, of course, the court found in favour of the government. And yet, Beatrice, you sound optimistic about the fight going on. How might that fight look like? What might happen next?
Next, we're still going to go back and tell them that they didn't consult us on this deal. We're still standing. We're stronger than before. We are more united now. Since yesterday, it has brought us together. And other British people as well, who was born in this country, they should be concerned as well. So don't be shy. Let's join forces, because it's going to come out of your pockets as well.
And Beatrice, I also understand outside the court yesterday there was a huge round of applause for Richard Tice, because Richard Tice tore up the contract, tore up the bill yesterday. And as I understand it, he stated that if reform were to form the next government, hey, that's a long way away, he said that the Reform Party would try and reverse this deal. So are you holding out, perhaps, that a change of government could be more in your favour?
Well, we still have the MPs that's supposed to vote still before this deal can go through. The signing of the papers is not the end of everything. So that gives us hope as well there.
That's good. I'm joined by Catherine Forster in the studio. She was sat next to you, I believe, in court yesterday. So, Catherine, would you like to have a question with Beatrice?
Yes, Beatrice, I was in the court yesterday and I was struck by the irony, really, that... where is camera 5? Oh, yeah, sorry. I was struck by the irony of the fact that, you were saying that the government is breaching international law on human rights, and yet here we have a Prime Minister who was a former human rights lawyer. Are you surprised that with his background, the government have not given more consideration to the Chagossian people? And, yet again, you seem to have been left out of the equation. Do you feel that he should be apologising, that he should be embarrassed?
No, I'm not surprised, because they have no shame. They've been trampling on us from day one, and they blame it on their ancestors, but they take them the belt and carry it along and keep doing whatever the ancestors was doing. So they got no shame.
And Beatrice, just a final question to you. You've been through quite an emotional whirlwind. What a roller coaster. You had the high of the potential victory, the temporary reprise, as it were, then the low of this going against you. But you seem remarkably stoic today. You seem upbeat almost about the future. Yeah.
I wasn't. I'm not going down. I'm going up. So, yes, I'm feeling hopeful. I've got supporters behind me. We only gonna get stronger.
Yeah, do you know what? I was joined yesterday in the studio by Misley Mandarin and Vanessa Callow. Of course, you know them, and they were absolutely the same. If you could bottle the spirit of the Chagossians, I swear we could send something to the moon. It's been an incredible cycle. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Beatrice Pompe. A pleasure to have your company, and get some rest. This must be very, very exhausting for you, but thank you so much for joining us on GB News. And also thank you, of course, to Catherine Forster. Excellent as ever. Thank you.